Davante Adams. And I say that because yesterday, Mike Tomlin himself opened up to the idea that he's considering starting Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is taking some of the first-team reps today, and I don't think you say you're considering somebody, you have him take first-team reps, you do all that publicly, and then go back to the guy that's been starting. Now, I think Mike Tomlin probably wants to see how Russell makes it through the week physically before he makes any declarations. He wants to make sure there are no setbacks with the calf injury that was expected and did sideline him for 4 to 6 weeks. He wants to make sure that he feels physically well by the end of the week. But I think if all those things happen, it certainly sounds like Russell Wilson is trending towards starting Sunday night against the New York Jets if he can make it through this week unscathed.
All right, thanks to Adam. You're with us throughout the hour. Now, Hawk, here's the thing. People will say, well, Justin Fields is 4-2 as a starter for this team.
Yeah.
Why in the world would you make a change right now?
There's a case to be made. When you watch the film, there are throws out there that Justin Fields is not making. He's not even attempting. And we're going to put it up now. So, Dan, I know you're going to hate this as dope as your suit is. I want you to watch the top of the field. It's cover 2, but that throw is wide open. This next one in the red zone, number 3 to the right. He's looking in that direction. That's another touchdown. He's a gun shy. He is not throwing down the field. I think this next one is the 3rd and 3. There's a corner at the bottom of the field that is there. Now he scrambles, he converts, but he is waiting to see it and he's not anticipating. This is probably the hardest one because he's scrambling, but there's an over route that you see Calvin Austin throws his hand up in the middle of the field. And then the last one is an out route to the bottom of the field. Again, open, he scrambles prematurely. And for these players on this, now what you know for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're not playing just to make it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're not playing just to try to compete in the division. So what they need to see is, do they have a quarterback that can maybe give them a push when they're going to need it offensively? Now, I don't know if Russell Wilson is that, but you know you brought these two quarterbacks in to see, and playing the Jets against that defense, this is really the opportunity to do that. You don't want to do it against an easier defense to where Russell plays well and you still have questions. There is more than enough plays out there when you think of the wide receivers who are out there running these routes as a slot. Dan, I'm a number 3. If you call a zebra jerk or you call me a corner, I don't want the ball all the time. But when I run a corner route on a 3rd down where I know I'm the first read and I don't get it, there will be frustration. And that starts to permeate throughout the locker room. So there's a case to be made.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
All right.
That suit is fire, though.
Thank you.
All right, for sure.
I like the compliment along with the analysis. Good stuff.
I would say on some of the plays that you showed, people are open. I don't think Justin is looking at them. Now, if we want to have a conversation that his eyes have been in maybe the place that I don't expect them to be at moments, that's absolutely fair. But I don't know exactly what he's getting taught or where he's getting told to look or if a matchup dictates it. But there are moments when, yes, people are open and Justin's not looking there. So I think there's a difference between guys open or Justin's not reading it the right way, okay, to be fair to Justin.
For sure.
Number 2, you're talking about, well, they want to be more than just a team that wins some games. We're a third way through the season. They're on track to be an 11-6 football team. He accounting for 30 touchdowns and 3 turnovers.
The defense is
But that has nothing to do
generational.
with those individual stats. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense is not as generational.
Dan, you
as
can't
people
honestly
think.
say you're watching the
they make
operation of this
plays.
offense and saying that it's operating at close to the highest level. So here's the issue with Justin Fields.
Okay.
What you get from him is mobility.
Yes.
Right? Russell Wilson won't have that.
Correct.
The problem is
Let me
he's
stop that
using
right
that
there.
mobility as a crutch as opposed to waiting for the opportunity to present itself. He is seeing it and throwing it, which is good at times. But you're talking about on quick game. There are sticks where he is waiting to see it to throw it. There are times when he is looking. The clips I pulled, and me and J-Mac went through this in the pregame for that purposeful reason, because I know you too well.
That one in the red zone, he was not looking down at that number 3. But that's not the point. That's not the point. That's not the point.
You should see the ones we eliminated. But anyway, go ahead.
But that's not. We don't know where he's getting taught to look at.
Facts.
Again,
Absolutely.
when you say he's using his legs as a crutch, that's fair. He's also using his legs as a necessity. When you say Russell's not going to make up for some of the stuff deficiency-wise as the offensive line blocking, as Justin, it's not even going to be close. So what do you believe that Russell's going to do that's going to be exponentially better?
Have the experience of knowing what routes work against what defense. And even if he's not taking a bunch of chances or using his legs to create, the anticipation of the knowledge that Russell Wilson has from playing in the league.
Russ has never been an anticipation
So
thrower.
that's my issue with this. Is I look at Justin Fields and the things you pointed out. We looked at the one in cover 2 where there's a 7 cut in the flat. He's looking that way. He doesn't throw the out route, the deep out route, which is a 7 cut. But I look at what Justin Fields brings to the table. So when I'm watching the film as a defender, I see, all right, I'm a corner. I have my guy covered. And now I look back at the quarterback, and he's 15 yards down the field on the other side. For me as a defense, that's a nightmare of trying to keep him in the pocket.
Sure.
And against the Raiders, you saw there was time after time where Crosby is in the backfield and he's at his feet and he has to take off right now. So that's my only issue is I look at the film and I look at the anticipation throws. Playing against Russell Wilson time after time, the one thing we always talked about was he's not throwing the anticipation throw.
Right.
Now, he's going to be able to stay in the pocket, make something happen, and he can throw that ball down the field when something does shake. I just don't know that you can remove Fields when you are winning football games.
Don't you think it's a massive dice roll?
I do.
As the head coach, and I love Mike Tomlin.
I do. I have to believe. I have to believe that there is something that Russell is showing you in practice that you have become enamored with. That you're saying we have to see it.
That would be enough. Like in practice, you would say he's doing this against our defense, which is really good.
I think the combination of the two. I think that to myself, because I am not saying that Justin Fields hasn't shown sparks. He's showing the same sparks he's always showed, which is why we keep saying like, yo, there is something there. Of course, he's a great athlete. He has a great arm. The other parts of it, of operation, execution, and just being able to implement the game plan, the nightmare that you have as a DB going against somebody running is the same nightmare offensive coordinators say when, we have the play called against the right defense and the guy is there and we're not throwing it. So they want to see if that's the case. Russell Wilson, even if he is doing good in practice, and here's the devil's advocate part, he's a veteran. We all know when you're a veteran, it's easy to light it up in practice, right?
Yes.
They're not used to Russell Wilson, so they're seeing that. But again, for Mike Tomlin, I don't think it's about Russell Wilson is better than Justin Fields. And I also don't believe they can't go back to Justin Fields. I don't think he's playing at a level where it's like you're going to miss. If you go back to Justin Fields, he's going to play considerably different. I don't believe that.
Hawk, if they go to
I also don't think he has shown so far in the first 6 games enough to say that, you know what, this is a done deal. This is over. This quarterback battle is no more. Never take a look at anyone else. I do not believe that.
I think Fields is the guy, but I do agree with you in the sense if Russ isn't, I do think they can go back. Fields is not like he has a plethora of options and he can just sit down and say, I'll just wait to be a free agent.
I think if they go to Russ and they lose in Sunday Night Football to the Jets, it's really hard to look at your locker room. And I think the world of Mike Tomlin.
And then you've got to go back to Justin Fields at that point if you lose and he doesn't perform well. It is an interesting time to have this experiment, if that's what it is. Russell Wilson 1-5 in his last 6 starts against Aaron Rodgers. Justin Fields 0-4 against Rodgers in his career. So against the Jets, we'll see what happens. A huge day of news yesterday. Adam, give us the latest on the 2 wide receivers that changed teams. Let's start with Amari Cooper.
Well, after the trade was agreed to yesterday, Amari Cooper drove from Cleveland to Buffalo and was there for the Bills practice today. Now, the Bills have not said that he will play Sunday against the Titans yet. We're still waiting to hear whether he will or will not make his debut. I think it'll depend on how quickly he can pick up some of the offense. Clearly, he's in shape, but right now he's questionable for Sunday. As for Davante Adams, he was walking out onto the practice field today. He is going to play on Sunday night. He and Aaron Rodgers are simpatico, and they know each other well. And so Adams may not have the Jets' entire offense down just yet, but he knows enough and he knows the quarterback well enough to be out there Sunday night against the Pittsburgh Steelers, making his debut. And the NFL scriptwriters got this absolutely right, to put Davante Adams' first game against the Jet and potentially Russell Wilson's first start as the Steelers quarterback. Those scriptwriters, as usual, Laura, were ahead of their time.
Man, how do they do that? It's just amazing. All right, here's interim coach Jeff Ulbrich on Davante playing this week.
It's a challenge for Todd Downing and the offensive staff and getting him up to speed as fast as possible. Fortunately, there's a lot of familiarity with the offense, and it's been a system he's been a part of for years. So I don't foresee it being a huge obstacle getting him going and involved.
His knowledge of the game is pretty extensive. Obviously, it looks like he's drinking the elixir from the fountain of youth. As I watched some of his clips, we went back and watched some old 2014 stuff when he was a rookie.
Oh, Well, one area Davante Adams could immediately help the Jets in is the red zone. Since 2000, only 2 duos have connected on more red zone touchdowns than Rodgers and Adams. Phillip Rivers to Antonio Gates and Tom Brady to Rob Gronkowski. The Jets have converted a touchdown on 53% of their red zone plays this season, which ranks 18th in the NFL. Monday, that was a concern as well. Hawk, any issue, though, with Davante getting up to speed for this week against the Steelers?
Typically, a receiver going to it. Damn.
They're still fighting about that.
I don't want him to blame the quarterback.
Typically, when a receiver is going to a new offense, yes, there would be concerns about how quickly they can get up to speed. But then there is the level of chemistry that Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers has, which is a whole different level. Think Tom Brady and Gronk. Tom Brady and any of his receivers, actually, because Davante Adams understands and sees the defense the way that Aaron Rodgers does. That's the reason why they were clamoring to get him with the New York Jets and get the most out of Aaron Rodgers, because they've done it for so long at such a high level. And I remember when I signed with the New England Patriots in an offseason, my last offseason, and your brother D-Mac will tell this story, but they would put the plays on the sheet. And I would see the play call, and I've never had a problem learning plays. Small flex, but football is easy to me, right? And we would go out to practice, and then I would watch Tom Brady and Edelman and Gronk run the same play that we went over, and it would look completely different.
Wow.
Because they were no longer running an offense that had any structure to it or that was documented. It was, hey, are you seeing what I'm seeing? We're not even communicating verbally or by hand signal. That kind of chemistry is what Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers have, and they can fire that up almost immediately.
I love that. I remember talking to Ocho Cinco when he was in New England. He said Brady would do a signal or do something so fast. By the time he turned and looked, the ball was snapped, and he was still looking inside. No doubt about it. So to your point, I look at this connection. I start to look at what it's going to look like on the football field. And they played against, now right here, you're seeing the Buffalo Bills, and they're doubling down the bottom against Garrett Wilson. And you're taking him away from the field with 2 guys, and Rodgers can't throw the ball down there. But look at all the space to the top of the field. You cannot do this with Garrett Wilson and Davante Adams both on the football field and think that Rodgers isn't going to trust. Here, once again, Harrison Smith, one of the best safeties at disguising and tricking you in the league. Rodgers looks him off to the left. Harrison Smith is not buying it because he has no threat of Mike Williams against Stephon Gilmore down the bottom. If that's Davante Adams down the bottom, or if it's Garrett Wilson, you flip those 2 guys in that role, it changes so much for this offense and what they can do. And if you want to double both those guys, you have to put 2 safeties high, which now opens up the run game for Breece Hall and Braylon Allen.
I love that tape. I love that thought. I think the 2 most important names in this football game when they play against the Pittsburgh Steelers, one, TJ Watt. Everybody on the Jets offense has to know where TJ Watt is at all times. You know, we often talk about defensive guys and we say, like, quarterback, know where that defensive end is. No, you better know where if you're a receiver or running back, because the punch out is coming. I mean, he is an unbelievable punch out guy. So you got to know exactly where he is at every single moment, whether you're the back, the tight end, the wide receiver. It will not matter, because his desire and ability to get the football away from you is wildly unique. The second person that is unbelievably important is Todd Downing, okay? And this is what I mean. To J-Mac's point a little bit, he's going into this game blind. You have no idea how they're going to play you as an offense. So oftentimes, you guys know, first 15, you're trying to like go execute plays, gather information. When I put Garrett over here and Davante over here, what are they doing? When I put Garrett over there and Davante with them, what are they doing? You know, when I motion one of the, who's the gravitational pull? I think how they're responding in game and talking in game and adjusting in game as an offense for the Jets to how Pittsburgh's playing them
both sides
will determine the game.
Has no idea how much Davante is going to be out there, where he's going to. So
right.
And here's an indicator. The Pittsburgh Steelers wanted Davante Adams. They wanted him bad. There's a tremendous amount of respect, and Tomlin has said that. Last year when Davante played against the Pittsburgh Steelers, they played 2 high shell 70% of the time, the most they have since 2017.
Wow.
Well, couple them back with Aaron Rodgers, that's probably going to give you an idea of what you're going to see.
It was interesting on Monday night, too, seeing Todd Downing. I mean, you're right, he'll have to adjust, but every single thing he does goes through Aaron Rodgers. They sit together on that bench. He shows him the play sheet, every single thing. Rodgers
It'll have to be them together. You know,
absolutely,
like, talking.
Which, I mean, we'll see if how that goes.
Hey,
it worked on Monday night.